Hi, guys. Welcome to Once in a Wyld, where every once in a while we have meaningful conversations with meaningful people. Don't forget to like and subscribe below. Today we are talking to Cheyne in Idaho. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Boise,
Boise,
Idaho.
Idaho. Okay.
What is
I
that?
want to know everything
Yeah.
about where you're at, what services you're offering, what you do. Give us the basics of who you are and where you're located.
All right. I'm Cheyne Fell. Boise, Idaho is where Collective Hair Experience is. I've had this studio for, dude, I want to say like 9 years. Like I started doing hair a long time ago, but I also grew up in a punk rock family and I was coloring my hair at a young age. There's all sorts of stuff. I was getting expelled from school, like as a little kid for having different hair.
Really?
And like a bunch of us were. Yeah, that's like the 80s, 90s. Prior to that, there was like when I got out of school, I don't know how to put it. Let's see. I went more business suits
Okay.
and like lots of education and like flying to different places and taking TG haircutting classes all over the place and like doing cool shit, like learning a lot about hair.
Yeah.
So the science of learning all of that stuff and the science of cutting hair and stuff too, that also transfers over to how you're doing locks and creating
You're
something on someone's
sectioning.
face.
Yeah.
If they're always pulling it back, you're going to section it differently than you will if they like to wear it
I
down
love
all the
that.
time, or so many different things, right? There's so much in, but so those educations transferred over, and then specializing in curly hair and stuff transferred over quite a bit too, because you learn the movement of hair. I grew up all over the place, man. Yes, I was born here. I was born in Boise. And then in the mid to late 80s, my other father, they were in a band, and the band signed on a record label called CZ Records out in Seattle. And so we bounced and moved to Seattle in the late 80s.
It's so cool.
And I did some grade school out in Seattle. I was at the shitty garage shows and the shitty little fucking punk rocker kid around. I was when I was like, ever since I was like 4 or 5, like 5 years old was my first punk rock show. Yeah, so I grew up in that scene. Dude, locks were in the scene.
It was huge.
All fucking part of it. I mean, I had dreadlocks when I was little. Not little, but just in the late 90s is the first time I had them, but they were just all over.
Yeah, see, like, let me recap this. Okay, so this is what I find so fascinating about you. Number one thing I want to talk about is that you're a male loctician. That's very obscure. This is a female-dominated industry in the middle of all of these hippies in this hippie community, but really, you're really much more of a punk rock kid. And so you point all to your upbringing.
Like the punk rockers eat hippies or whatever, like the whole saying. Yeah.
I just think you have this unique perspective because
there's too many similarities in there, though. My mom would kick my ass if I called her a hippie, but the truth is she eats all organic. She fucking meditates. You know what I mean? She's super shamanistic.
But it's like a word.
It's super fucking rad. And I don't know. She's definitely not hippie.
You having, I guess I would say that punk upbringing is my best descriptor for it, because it comes through so strongly for you. You can tell it's such a part of you, is that I don't think that people realize how popular dreads were and locks were in that culture before they got popularized in the hippie community. And I think that's the unique perspective that you have from that upbringing that most people wouldn't realize.
It was both communities. But like we all did them differently. People wanted to offer real locks. And so what they have is, and you've got hairdressers that date punk rockers all the fucking time. It's the age-old theme, right? And so you're getting these ideas that are transferring over. How can we put this in a salon? And so then you got Naughty Boy that's we can create wax that we can sell.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And so then we'll have all this coconut oil bullshit and this wax that we can sell or whatever, and that'll be a thing.
When you talk about this stuff, because no one talks about this, and hesitate to pathologize it, because that's what we were doing at the time. There weren't more options at the time. My first set was a Naughty Boy kit set with wax in it, and it was like twist and rip in someone's bathroom. And that was the leading edge, and it was so exciting and so freeing. So when it comes to wax, I've heard two different narratives, and I'm just curious your take on it because you've been in so many different like pockets of the industry. I know wax came around a lot because like of the narrative that you're talking about, but also I felt like wax came along because of a lot of waxes and gels that were being used on African American hair, and then we're jumping that river, and anyone with straight hair or European hair was using it. So do you feel like both of those are legitimate ways that like wax and gel came into the dread world, or do you really think that it's one?
Oh, for sure. No, I think it's all that way. How not only that, it's that, and then you take that, like somebody's going to want to make money off it once it starts happening. And so then it's going to be shove all this stuff in your hair. That's what you
and
need.
convince you that you need it.
Because like, why even look at the rest of it? This is what's going to happen. Eventually you will have really pretty locks.
I always love watching your content because I pick up on those things and I'm like, oh, I'm so happy he's talking about this, because most of the like modern dreadies or dreadheads now, they don't know about any of this. They don't know that's how we were doing things. Yeah. They don't know the scenes that it came from. Yeah. They don't have, I don't want to say like the respect for it, but there's this idea now that you need all these things. And so I love the simplicity of this movement back to, hey, you actually don't need all of that stuff. Your hair is going to be fine. Your hair knows what to do. With guidance, how do you feel that being a dreadlock artist in particular fits in with being a parent?
Well, I mean, okay, dude, like we have clients that have kids that have like, not only that, like the kids that have gone before mine and kids that are younger than mine. And like we bounce, obviously like conversations happen. So that helps a lot. I think the coolest part about it is that I get to make, just hairdressing in general, but like with locks for sure, it's like I make my own schedule. I do my own thing. I don't have to work 8 hours a day. I don't have to work 6 hours a day. In fact, most days I work like 1 or 2 clients, and some days I might work 3, and some days I might not work any for a few days. Like, I don't have to tell my clients any of it. Like, I don't have to be like, oh, you can't have 2:30 that day because of this. Like, these are the days I have open, and that's how it works. And nobody's ever really that mad about it. I mean, dude, at least being a single parent, it is too fucking hard it would be way too hard to have a 9 to 5 to have to be a thing.
There's no way.
And to like have to answer to somebody else for some bullshit and like have to ask for time. Like, it's just, I couldn't do it, dude. What if my kid's sick? What if this, I don't know, dude. It's just so much easier to do it as my own boss, even though it's really hard to be your own boss. Yeah. There's a lot of work, and there's a lot, like you are, dude, those reels aren't wrong that you are all these juggling parts, and like you're a therapist and you're a banker and you're this and you're a tax person and you're a fucking, all the things. It's not like, it is harder in a lot of ways, but it's also like, I don't know that I'd want to go back to working for somebody else. And my job is that this person falls in love with themselves in the mirror.
Tell me real quick, how do you feel about being like a male in a female dominated niche? Is that weird for you, or do you even think about it?
There was a hard part about breaking out. I think it's probably also what had me focusing on the science of things and what the care is and all these things, is because I know that I can't offer something in that. I'm going to come out with the scientific approach of what we're doing here, and this is what we're doing here. And not only that, it's across the board through all hair types that like these things are going to work these ways. And so there might be nuances to each hair type, which there obviously is with everything. The approach in that way was that I know that I can create sentences. I can create sentences. And then beyond the sentences, I really just wanted to be able to I wanted the education to land in locticians' labs.
Right.
As much as I geared it towards home maintenance and home care, like I knew that was going to grab on to people around.
Yeah.
And gear it towards like, if you're on a desert island, how are you going to take care of your locks? Here's how. Yes. And like that hedges into what we're doing behind the chair all the fucking time. And so like, I wanted it to land in the laps of locticians because I have not a huge problem. I don't like that there's not hair education inside of lock education. And then like beyond that, there should be also some like consultation education, how to run the business education, how to fucking handle certain things.
It's not there.
Like the fact that we're counselors and the fact that someone's going to unload something on you and you might not be ready.
I know.
Like,
I know. And no one prepares you for that. And it's so sorely disappointing and so lacking. And I'm someone that's struggling with that as well. But then I feel like the catch-22, and I think you would have an important commentary on this, is those of us who are in that position, we go, okay, fine, I'll go to hair school, to get that scalp education, that hair education.
Which is like, fuck.
But 90% of that, we have no interest in using.
You're paying for it.
What's the middle? There's no middle.
Right. There really isn't.
That was another thing that really, I was like, I really need to do this podcast and start having these conversations, because there is no conversation about that missing space, that missing chunk. And there are so many scenarios that so many of us have been in and had a bad time or a bad outcome simply because We weren't educated. No one prepared us. It's not out there. There's no governing body. And you've got people out here that care a whole lot and they pursue that education on themselves. And you do have people that they do not give a shit and they just want to get paid that high dollar amount for that service, and they do not care at all.
Which is why I think it was hard to know that like there's going to be a whole lot of people teaching courses to people that don't have hair background. That's okay. So that's already going to happen. Okay, fine. Yep. That's cool and all. And I'm willing to even be a part of that too. I'm totally down. But like, I also want like those people to understand what they're doing, and they're not going to get that any other way than like learning what the hair science is. And hopefully at some point.
And I feel the exact same as you. And I don't know what the answer is. I do think that it's coming.
I think it is too. I think that further education is what it is. It's just a do you want to know what's going on here? You know, because like, sure, you can take a thing and learn how to crochet. I could take a thing and learn how to crochet a fucking doily too.
Yep.
Like, yeah, of course, it's muscle memory. Muscle memory is always frustrating, and then you learn how to do it, and then it's not so frustrating anymore, and you're better at it.
But that's only one part of the equation. There's so much more.
It's only a tool. The crochet hook's just a tool, and like not only that, anybody can go in and out and in and out and in. And if that's what you're doing, then like maybe you don't want further education. Sure.
Okay, so here's where we're at in history now. Okay, so you and I both have the background of seeing like OG locks. People were doing twist and rip and wax and all the crazy things that we used to do. We've watched this evolution. I say it's basically the equivalent of like riding on horseback to watching like a rocket go to the moon in terms of the lock industry. I watched it and you've watched it happen. And now we're at this weird point, and I'm curious how you feel about it, where now we have hypersaturation. We have so many people entering the industry. So what is the answer to that? What do you think is going to happen? What's your take on what's happening right now as someone who's seen it all change for so many years? Well, and what do you think will happen?
I think that the answer is in the same way that, I mean, like usually things work in fractals, right? And so like the way that in my mind, the way it worked was like I took that one paragraph on locks and budding and
the
lock maturity.
Because there's literally only one.
Yeah, and I coupled that with hair science and how hair grows and how the follicles work and how the cuticle works and what a wet set is and all that shit. And you put all that shit together and you get locks. And right. And then like
you formed your own body of information.
Right. But from that, there's these crossovers that are happening where I have a lot of twist clients that are coming from from there just to get the crochet work done, maybe once every 6 months or something. It's not very often. It's like, which leaves for more, which is great.
And that's why I love what you're doing, because you're breaking that binary.
I think that's where it's going.
Most people aren't blurring the lines. Most people are working within that binary of, curly hair, straight hair, crochet, interlock, like all these different binary boxes. And I feel like you're breaking that, but I feel like there are very few people breaking that right now. And I really get the most excited about when those lines are being blurred and it breaks out of that binary into, the customizing of who are you actually working on and what texture are you working with, what's best for the end result, and getting into the details and the science of it. If you can do that, you're a master of your craft, first of all. And second of all, it's the most important leading edge of that, because what it does, it eliminates the racial element of hair. It immediately takes that out of it. When you get out of the methods and the textures and you get down to what's the best for this person and this end result,
because it's
eliminate the racial component.
Hair type, dude, and also scalps on top of that. I mean, there's so much inside of that like I would never take one of my clients that aren't used to extremely tight styles into a tighter style. I hardly crochet their locks super tight because I don't want to ruin hair follicles and ruin stuff. The fact that traction alopecia is a normal thing to people is fucking ridiculous.
That it's just accepted.
It's not accepted. I'm sorry. It's not supposed to fucking happen. It's happening because your people are going too tight because
they're like, oh, that's fine.
Stop,
you have traction alopecia.
Stop doing that. It's not okay. It's fucking.
I know.
That doesn't just happen, dude. The media loves to use hair as a thing. It always has. And I wrote about it the other day. It's like, it will always fucking use that.
So you're like same play, different time.
Same play, different shit. It doesn't fool me. It sucks that it fools a bunch of other people. Didn't do
right. It. So it has much less to do with a cultural divide and much more to do with just general misunderstanding, general judgment, general hatred.
We have this fucking
Yes.
DNA in us, and it will vibrate and do weird shit if something's wrong. Locks have been on all four corners of the world in history. All four corners, locks have been on. And in every single culture, it has been something of either high priestess or big warriors, like the highest of the warriors. Sometimes it was like the emperors, but like usually it had something more to do with something you should be scared of or bowing down to. Right? This is in the DNA from thousands of years past on all corners with every person. Like every DNA out there has this in them to react to this thing.
But you're saying it's much more of a mammalian internal historical reaction.
It's an internal historical reaction that's happening there that they don't know how to dial into that, and they don't really realize that that's what's happening. But I do think at first that's the first visceral thing that's happening there. You know?
Yeah.
Of course, punk rock haircuts are reacted to, but locks were always
yeah, and that is a universal thing. It's true, and what a lot of people don't know is the first like archaeological physical evidence is the Nazca people in Peru.
It's been all over the world forever. It's recorded everywhere and with all different hair types.
Right, and it's always been a symbol of being set apart. Whether it was someone in an ancient culture or someone on the punk scene in the 80s.
I think that it's important to know that that's what's going to happen. Like when I sit with clients in consultation, even, and say, we go over so much stuff, but it's definitely some of the things that go on. Like, if you seem like you're a really introverted person, I might be like, hey dude, this might not be the best. You're a walking conversation piece everywhere.
Literally. I do talk to a lot of people about that. If I notice someone that is emotionally fragile or maybe doesn't like being perceived, I'm usually like, hey, this is something that's going to happen to you. If you're not okay with that, here are some ways to avoid that. You know, here are some ways to cope with that. And you need to be prepared for what's going to happen to you in public. And I'm not saying it's negative. 90% of it's positive.
90% of it's positive. Yeah. There's a couple of negative things and they stand out. That's why I always say, it's just in person too. It's like they stand out because it's so not the norm. It's so.
Do you see a day in the future when it is the norm and we no longer have that reaction because it's so normalized and so popular? Do you think that day will ever come?
No, I don't. And like the reason why is because I don't think that hair won't ever not be a status symbol, just like your shoes or your fucking clothes.
And a commentary and a reactionary item.
The guy that's not naturally gets just a gentleman's cut is the guy that's going to wear a business suit and go do health insurance or whatever. I think it could be. I do think that America's one of the only places that it's not so normal. That, like, I mean, dude, locks with business suits in business professions were a thing in Great Britain or whatever, and England and stuff.
Very common in the UK, much more common in the UK.
Right, and like, whereas like America, you wouldn't have seen that at all. I mean, dude, you couldn't even wait tables with tattoos on your hands fucking 10 years ago.
I know, isn't that crazy?
You know, and that's normalized. I think it'll get to be a thing. I think that things always work in cycles, right? So like, I think that at some point in time, because of the saturation, it'll obviously go back down. And like, as it goes back down, it'll be a normalized thing that most people, it'll be one of those things that, oh yeah, I did that once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it'll be like one of those,
I see that happening. I see a lot of people doing it temporarily, which is another shell shock for me from like the background that we were talking about before that you come from and I come from, is if you got that, you were doing that forever. Commitment. Like that was your life.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I had him for a couple years.
I think that's half the reason I did freeform like this guided this time.
Yeah. I mean, tell me about that, because you jumping into freeform, I was like so excited when I saw that you were doing a freeform, like literally like roll style. I was like, yes, I would kill to start someone out like that again. Like it would just make my little like OG hippie heart so happy to do something. I'd love to do like a twist and rip in someone's basement. Like that sounds so cool. So I'm so psyched to see you doing that. What stage are you at? Like, how is it going?
So Christmas would have been.
I love watching it.
Christmas was 3 months, so I've got 3 months under the belt of doing it.
Do your clients or people you interact with think that you're crazy for starting in this OG way?
No, a lot of them really want to do it or whatever.
Yes,
a lot of people really dig it. Most people understand it. You know, a lot of it is like, what made you want to do that? And like, to tell you the truth about that, like 3 years into my last journey, I already knew they were going to come off and this was going to happen. It's like, I show you guys the picture of me in the 90s, but you don't know what was going on that. Like, you don't know
what happened to get there.
Every day you have to do a thing. And like, do a wet set and do it, you know, all that shit. And so it's like,
and I feel like that's the piece that people know. I feel like it's this piece of ancient archaeology of like the dread journey that is like disappearing in front of my eyes.
Yeah, because you
and
have
I'm a huge fan of instant
diligence.
locks. I'm a huge fan of those huge
Same.
transformations. I dole it out every day.
Fuck yeah, it's
but
awesome.
man,
It's fucking sick, dude. I wish. And don't get me wrong, dude. There's daily that I want to like, just want to fucking just a little bit. Like, I'm not, but there, dude. Believe I want to. Like,
I know.
Yeah, I know I can. I have the tools. Like, I've been doing.
But I love what's happening. I love seeing it.
I wanted to on my YouTube channel be like, see, you guys, this can all happen with just hands. Like, you don't need everything you think you need. You don't need all these products. You don't need all this shit. You need some good soap,
and
some friction, and maybe
some I'm just so glad you're doing that. Like I said, it makes my OG like dreadlock artist heart so happy, because
you know what's the hardest part about it?
Yeah.
Is that like my message requests are full of people going, how do I do that? I'm sorry, homie. Did you not scroll 3 fucking things back? Like, what my whole fucking channel's about? Like,
but it does require a certain level of rebellion and bravery. You know, whether you're, you know, like me when I was 17, you know, doing like a twist and rip set off of some YouTube video, or you doing that, it does require, you have to let go of control. And this is what I'm zeroing in on, because I love the lock world today. I love what I do. I love all these interlocks. I love it. I love every day that I wake up and do that work. However, I do feel that there's an element that is lost.
There is.
There's that heart and that core that's lost. And I get so excited when I see it.
We have to go through the ego death of it. Like, there's this ego death of it that goes on.
Exactly.
And like, the way I usually explained it is like, if you were a girl that shaved your head when you were a teenager, you have a good inkling of what this is going to do.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
You have a good inkling about this, because like the Sinead O'Connors of the world know the ego death that goes along with locks. It's just, you're doing the opposite
and with
of
hair and appearance.
And people out there want to see or know about. And
and
it's going to cause question, and it's going to cause like recoil. Both. It'll cause both. I think it'll always have a reaction to it.
I feel like dreads is a lot like childbirth. It doesn't matter if you got an epidural or you did it natural or you got a C-section. Like, you had a healthy baby, like each to their own. And I feel like that really is a reflection and commentary on your inner world. And that's your business. And I'm just a facilitator of that.
Yeah, but where they've always wanted them but never have because of these things, and now all of a sudden they feel like they can because of this.
So powerful, yeah,
and it's powerful to be able to bring them into that. The cool part about it is like, locks still have 5 stages of lock maturity, and the 5th stage is that the ends will fucking tatter up and start to round in and blunt themselves. And like, things get velvety and squishy at that point.
No matter how fancy they are,
it does its thing.
You're still on that journey.
You're still gonna walk.
You're still gonna go through it.
You can't, like, you can only expect so much perfection out of something that's meant to be imperfect.
That sentence right there is what is being lost right now in the dread world.
Literally the point of it. The coolest fucking thing about locks, one of the coolest things, is that it implores us to have a self-care routine, a caring for our hair routine, at least to do something with it while it's wet, because you're creating a wet set, at least that much.
Yeah.
Like, and
I think that's a foreign concept to a lot of clients and a lot of dreadlock artists. And that's why I love that you talk about it. You know, I think that's really important.
And it is something you go get done. It is something that is done here. It is something that transaction, that sharing of energy, that thing that's happening, it's an important thing to go on. It's always been a thing to me to know that, like, that all of what you just let go in my chair told me about all the hard parts you went through this last whatever is stuck on your mind. I literally just released it by cutting it off of your head. It's all over the floor, like in front of us, right? And I get to sweep that up in front of you and throw it away. It isn't just the intimate 2 hours that we're together. There's a reason why it's so easy for them to just give us their whole life.
Right.
Like, it's a good thing more hairdressers aren't people that steal people's identities and shit. Because it would
Truth.
Truth. I mean,
I feel like there are creators out here right now, especially in the lock world, which is just the niche that I see and that is in my algorithm, that are literally being eaten alive as people because they don't have that discernment to know, hey, I have to watch my self-care and I have to watch who I'm available to. And I know I made that mistake early on because there was such demand and such need through that niche And, maybe you carry an aesthetic or a character or an appearance that somebody wants to embody and they're chasing after you for that. And the whole social media game of it all. And then finding myself like, oh, I need to give myself over to everyone.
Right.
And it nearly crashed me out. Do you feel like doing lock work and doing hair work are as powerful in that way? Or do you feel like lock work is more powerful for that transformation?
I think that certain people are ready for the transformation and they come get locks. It's an extension of my nervous system. This isn't like hippy dippy. This is all proven stuff. And if anyone out there watching is really like, I don't know what he's talking about, energy, go look up when the American government hired Native Americans to scout, and then they shaved their heads and they couldn't scout anymore. Those Native, and it sparked an entire investigation on why is this happening? What's up? It is a proven thing that this is an extension of our nervous system in this manner. It helps us navigate the world around us, and so that is one of the more famous studies on why and what hair is to us, and it gets pretty in depth in there. I think our placement behind the chair comes in too as that facilitator, because it is some of that. We are literally being trusted with the whiskers of a cat.
Yeah.
whether everyone wants to see it or not.
I know you really stay outside of a lot of the like social media noise, but I am just so curious about what trends do you see in the industry right now that you really like, if any? And do you have any like accounts that you follow that are like your absolute favorites that really inspire you and like make you happy when you see them?
There's definitely that. I definitely have some accounts that I enjoy, that I like to see people. You're one of them. There's a few people that like we've talked to on the sidelines and like we click really well. A lot of us have similar backgrounds. I'm always a pusher for all natural, and so like I want someone to have their curl. I want someone that has straight hair to run a bob. Like, let's get you cute. Let's get you a pixie.
Be different.
Yeah, when everyone's showing really pretty shit, I want to show like a natural fucking freeform lock journey. It's super selfish for me to be in recovery because I'm a fucking rad human being this way and I like this person, and that's selfish.
Yeah.
And like I could hate myself and do junk too, but I don't want to. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then
like this way is better. Yeah.
Yeah, totally, dude. And then
I think that is what a lot of time recovery boils down to.
It does. And it's not comfortable to like, it's not nothing that your brain hasn't used to is comfortable, dude.
Right. It doesn't want a different type of food, even if it's bad for you.
Food. It wants sugar. Fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? It fucking wants the things that it wants, dude, and it wants it now. That's the
And I think this is what I said the other day about recovery. I think that the size of the distance doesn't matter, whether it's someone who's trying to get healthy and they're going for a walk every day, or it's someone who decides they're going to compete in the Olympics. That little modicum of distance of self-discipline and self-care and self-love and self-awareness, that distance is always the same. And just redoing that distance over and over again every day, maybe multiple times a day if it's a bad day, whether that's going to rehab or saying, I'm going to eat a healthy meal instead of this, that distance is the same.
Yeah. It's just trying. It's just doing it, and it's doing it over and over again until that's comfortable now, until that's the new rut.
For our listeners, what is on the horizon for you personally and in your dread career? What's next for you?
It's not what's next, because I enjoy what's happening right now and where I am right now and what's going on. There's a whole lot of like external components that kind of have me like on my toes about what future looks like. Hopefully this and traveling. I really want to be focusing on the education part to the point where like I'm just going and like doing classes with people. So I really hope that it's like something where it's like, hey, we're just going to invite Cheyne to come do this.
I could definitely see you doing that. One of my last questions for you was, for people that are coming into this industry, what would your piece of advice to them be? What would you tell younger you or all the people incoming? What do they need to know?
Not every client is your client. Not every client needs to be your client. Not every client needs to be in your chair, and you don't need all the money. You don't. There's somebody over there that's going to fit that person better, that's going to give them a better journey that they're going to be stoked with. Why ruin that for them by trying to keep that money? Right? Like that's one of those things. And then there's don't do everything, right? That falls in lines with don't do everything. And then like it's scary the first time you tell someone no.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good. It feels really weird actually, because like you're supposed to be a hairdresser and
you have like a no hangover after.
Yeah, dude, you have this weird hangover. It's and it hurts, and you're like, I feel like I just got in a fist fight with somebody. It sucks. Like, so don't do everything, because the minute you're doing everything is the minute they expect you to do everything. And if there's anything you learn from being in the service industry, and it's not everybody, but it's when the one person does it, takes away from everybody. That's the problem. It isn't the problem that everybody does it. It's that the one person is so draining. It takes away from all your other clientele and your home business and your home and your home life. All that stuff. It takes away from everything.
I love your approach to everything and the way that you think of things. I, for one, can say I definitely hope that someday maybe you consider going on like an education tour or something like that. But at least keep making your videos because they're wonderful. Thank you so much, Cheyne. This has probably been one of the best conversations of all time. And I really think we're probably going to need a part 2 because we have so much more to talk about.
I'm sure we can unpack a whole lot of stuff. Maybe it's about time we had longer conversation anyways.
I know.
It's been little bits here and there throughout the years, but never like a long thing. So
thank you for making it happen.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that thank you for always supporting and just being back and forth with me, dude.
Thank you so much, Cheyne.
Thank you.
We will talk soon.
All right.